is. You all have to allow me.
Okay.
I don't mind speaking without my face, but just wanted to let you know that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Stacy.
I'll go on. Good morning. I bring you
You're now
greetings.
co-host, Mrs. Majors.
Say that again.
You should be able to put your video on now.
No, it's okay. Okay. There you
There
go.
we go.
Hello, beautiful. How are you?
Hi.
Good morning. I bring you greetings from Greater Baltimore Urban League. I am Tiffany, the president and CEO. I thank you all for joining us on this bright and blessed, amazing morning. Any day above earth is a great day, especially in these times. Today, we celebrate our National Day of Empowerment, brought to you by our illustrious auxiliaries of the Gracious Guild and the Unorthodox Young Professionals, Greater Baltimore Leadership Association. We bring you the uncommon conversation and necessary topics of our culture and generation as we navigate the quadruple pandemics of COVID, racial injustice, economic disparities, and the attempted devastation on our democracy. I ask that you take a strong effort in ensuring your generational wealth for times as these. Become involved with the League and with our auxiliaries and our efforts for service. If you're not a member, please become a member and know that true service happens in confusion and chaos. Be a part of our good chaos. Enjoy the presentation. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Okay. So our panelists should be able to put their videos on now. We just updated that. Let me know if you still cannot put your video on, but right now you should have that option to do so.
Hey, how'd she get that background?
Oh, she fancy.
Yes, I want it.
All right. Okay. I see Ernest, I see Latera, I still waiting on Kendrick, Portia, and Lamontre to be able to put their cameras on. All right,
Yep.
I see you, Lamontre. Awesome. Good to see you.
Pleasure.
Hey, Portia, I see you.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Hey, Kendrick, you got the nice setup over there.
Right?
Right, he official.
Gotta get on your level.
That's what I do for a living.
You can take me out now.
Okay.
And host these big, amazing people. Thank you so much for doing this for us. We are so happy to have you all as our panelists. Amazing individuals. When I saw your names, I was really excited. I actually got some calls of other individuals that wanted to be on the panel. So we might have to do a duo, but thank you so much for being a part. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. So as I said, Dr. Latera McFadden, she is a member, she is our Director of Finance for the Greater Baltimore Leadership Association, and she will be moderating the panel. The format of today will go as follows. We will first talk about stocks, investing in stocks with Ernest Davis of TBTL Consulting. Then we will hear from Lamontre Randall as he talks about what Kioba Ventures is doing as it relates to real estate investment and what it takes to partner with others to invest in real estate. And then our last section is collective economics. We have two dynamic speakers for collective economics. Our first speaker will be Kendrick Tilghman of 5Starr Enterprises, and he will be talking about what it takes to support Black businesses. And lastly, to wrap it all up, we will hear from Mrs. Portia Wood from the Wood Legal Group, and she's going to talk about estate planning and protecting your assets. And then we'll have a closing towards the end. So it'll be 10 minutes to give a presentation, and then we will have about 20 minutes Q&A. You'll hear from our moderator. And then if any of our attendees has a question, please put it in the chat box. And then we will have the moderator, Dr. Latera McFadden, will read out your questions. Does anyone have any questions? All right, let's get started. Ms. Latera, Dr. Latera McFadden.
Good morning, everyone. As Crystal said, I am Dr. Latera McFadden. I currently serve as the Vice President of Finance for the Greater Baltimore Leadership Association, the Greater Baltimore Urban League Young Professionals. And today I get to serve as your moderator for this amazing panel, some of which I know, and I think they are dynamic, some of which I'm meeting for the first time, but I've heard nothing but great things. So I'm excited to hear your information. As Crystal stated, the way today will run is each panelist will be able to present for 10 minutes, and then we will have a question and answer period. So I am going to kick off the show with Mr. Ernest Davis.
Hi, Dr. McFadden. How are you?
How are you?
I have to remember to call you Dr. McFadden in a formal setting. So, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am excellent. I'm excellent. I am honored to be here. Thank you to CEO Majors, as well as Stacey Dice, who reached out to me just for giving me this opportunity to share. This really is a privilege, and it's actually it's kind of coming full circle for me. And I'll explain that when I get into my presentation. So I guess I'm starting now, right?
Yep, your 10 minutes starts now, and I'm going to have a timer, so you got to be on time.
All right. All right. All right. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
All right. Excellent. Okay. So good morning, everyone. I am really, really, really excited to share about investing into the stock market. This is, an opportunity that I, wasn't expecting to happen, but, you'd be surprised how God works, right? So I'm truly, truly grateful for just having a few moments of your time to talk about the importance of investing into the stock market in our community. And let's go ahead and begin. So first, I'll start by sharing a few things about me. I am born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, from over east, as they say. I have, I went to Morgan for my undergrad. I'm currently pursuing my MBA at American University, and I will be complete in 2 weeks. So we have this, if we have this same event next year, I will be Ernest Davis MBA. So hooray for me. I am an alumni of GBLA. I actually, interestingly, my first exposure to GBLA was a financial literacy event called Know Your Money. So as I said earlier, this is like full circle for me because my first experience with GBLA and knowing more about the Urban League was through financial literacy. And now I have an opportunity to share about financial literacy. So just a quick summary about me. I have over 10 years of experience teaching financial literacy. I have worked with GBLA as well as a few others that are in the financial literacy space, specifically Deborah Owens, who is, she's been all over Roland Martin to Essence. And I also had an opportunity to do some amazing work with her and helping develop a curriculum for her. I am a proud member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So you may have seen my background earlier. That's because this week was our Founders Day. So I've just been celebrating, safely and socially distancing myself. So I am, I've been a member now for a few years. And one of the things that I'm doing within the fraternity is I'm creating a space for the brothers to be able to talk about financial literacy. And I created a platform where I currently have over 4,800 men currently discussing and talking about financial literacy, even now as I speak. So that's just a few things about me. So what I wanted to talk about, just jump to here, is let's talk about stocks. But before I do that, I want to just kind of break down the three different categories of income. I think, we're so, programmed to working and getting a paycheck, which is great. That we sometimes may lose sight of the other opportunities that we have to make money. So the first way that, the first category where we can make money is by earned income. This is what we all know and are familiar with. This is our 9-to-5 job. If you're self-employed, you fall under this category as well. But basically, this is where you make your money by, in exchange of a service, right? And again, this is how most people make their living. Some of the drawbacks to that is that the taxes, are on a sliding scale depending on how much money you bring in. You're also trading your time for money, which is a valuable resource. Your earnings are capped by your employer. So if you think that you're worth $500,000, but your employer says, you're worth $48,000, well, guess how much you're going to make, right? And then as you age, unfortunately, the history has shown is that your earning power does decline over time. So that takes us to the next form of income, which is passive income. Now, this is money that you can make without actually working. So this is rent. This is things like dividends, which we'll talk about later. But this is where your assets is used to produce money. Now, some of the drawbacks of this is that it may take a huge investment of your time up front. But once you put in that time, over time, you'll be able to make money. This is where, they say you can make money in your sleep. This is kind of where that comes from. And it also requires some money in order to invest into this stream or category of income. And then finally, which is the area that we're going to focus on today, is portfolio income, right? Now, this is money that they used to say is made by paper assets, because back in the day when you owned stock, you actually received a piece of paper. But, now we are in a digital time. So this is money basically made by taking your money and investing it into an item, and that item will generate, based on various factors, the goal is for that item to generate money over time, and then you can sell that item at a higher cost at a later time. One of the benefits about the portfolio income that was actually made famous by Warren Buffett, who is like the guru of portfolio investing, is that he actually pays less taxes than his secretary. So if you can believe that. So that just shows you the power of portfolio income. And Warren Buffett is one of the richest men, in the world. So it's a great area to be in. Now, there are some drawbacks, right? One of the first things that a lot of people, maybe, and this may be one of the barriers, is that there is a potential where you could lose some or all of the money that you initially put into the account or to the stock or whatever. And then that money may not necessarily come back to you immediately based on, a myriad of factors. But I think, once you understand how it works, you'll feel more comfortable about getting into that space. All right, go to the next slide. Now, why is it important for us as a community to get into the stock market and invest in stocks? The first thing is that I have some stats here. The first is that only 33.5% of us currently own stock. This was as of 2019, compared to 61% in stock ownership by our Caucasian counterparts, right? So, just once you get to see, and I'll show you an example towards the end, once you see just the potential money that can be made when you invest in companies, the companies that makes it and companies that can produce a tremendous income, is that you will see the returns compared to your investment on successful companies, and it's astronomical, right? Now, just to give you an idea, in the last 10 years alone, the S&P 500, which is a collection of the 500 largest companies, has had a return of over 260%. That is crazy, right? And so if you had your money into the S&P 500 10 years ago, you would have today received, two and a half times your initial investment. Right. So I think that's incredible. And then most importantly, the African-American wealth there's always been a huge difference between us and, our Caucasian counterparts. Right. So currently, for every $100 that a white household makes, an African-American household brings in $13. Now, we know that there are a myriad of factors in that. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think the great thing about this is that the stock market is and can be one of the great equalizers for us to be able to close that gap. Now, what do you need in order to purchase stocks? So there's three things that I consider that you need. Two are requirements. One is just optional, but I think it's a key a key characteristic for you, right? So the two things that you need in order to purchase stocks, one is that you need a bank account, and then two, you need an investment account that you can link the bank account to. This is how you're going to put your money into the account, and this is how you will initially fund the account, and then be able to provide more funds at a later time. And then the third thing that is not necessarily a requirement to have, but you have to understand about the market is tolerance, right? Growing up, I didn't really know about the stock market, and I was really protective of my money because I didn't really have a lot, right? So when I first got into the market, it was difficult for me to put money in the market that is hard earned, that I worked in slaves in order to get, and then see it fluctuate, see it go down and then go up and go down. And sometimes it would stay down. And I'm like, wait, where's my money, right? Because I'm suspecting the money. But, I had to learn, I had to have the tolerance in order to be able to, put the money into the stock and either trust the company and continue to invest money into it, or put the money and just let it sit, and then allow the market to do its magic. So I think, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't really tell you about, but you have to, you have to have that fortitude in order to kind of survive the volatility, especially now, given that we're in this global pandemic.
Ernest, thank you so much. We're going to come back to you so we can continue with the flow of the program, and then we'll come back and let you give some more tips and things, especially during our question and answer period. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So to continue right along, we're going to move on to our next presenter, and that is, please correct me if I say this wrong. I'm so sorry. Lamontre Randall. Did I say that right?
You said it perfectly. It perfectly. It's French.
I believe you.
No, I don't believe me. My mother's better than that.
Hey, it's your name. I believe you.
Try to tell me it's French. They don't
it's
know
from
nothing
that
about
region
French.
called Baltimore. I support it.
Yeah. So first of all, y'all, sorry for my I was a little bit late. I'm in New Orleans right now. And it's like a time difference. I didn't know. I forgot. And to make it a little bit cool, before I start, I'm gonna show y'all. I'm in a tiny home right now. Actually, I'm staying in a tiny home, and I just think it's so cool that yeah, it's just awesome. But so I'm here to talk about Kyoba, and pretty much Kyoba. What happened was black men were getting together, like over 100 of us every month for Black Men's Breakfast, right? And what we recognize is, as a community, social justice is important, but also another important milestone for us to have is economic justice, right? And so instead of complaining about all the issues that's happening, about all, you know what I'm saying, all the plight here in Baltimore, and seeing that gentrification is happening but our people aren't involved. A group of like between 50 to 75 brothers came together, and we started Kyoba. And Kyoba was pretty much a word that we made up. We wanted to have some, what can I say, that black Afrocentric type of feel, and just Kyoba just sounded like right, and that's kind of how we all came up with the name. It's keeping it 100. Black Association is how, when you kind of narrow it out. But Kyoba Ventures started, and what it is a group of brothers. We just come together and we put money every month, and we go and we provide equal opportunity housing within our community. We seeing that a lot of people out here want to buy a home but don't know the resources, or may feel as though they are disenfranchised here in Baltimore. And so we try to alleviate that pressure. We do credit support courses. We're working on teaming up with first time home buyer seminars and helping out with that. And I'll say that's the gist of everything as far as like when we do when we try to support. We also got a community service aspect of our work, right? So we just was with I don't know if y'all know Baltimore Homes, and we was building micro shelters, and that's just whatever in the aspect of building is what we all about. And it's not about flipping homes, this and that, third. Nah, we into community development. You know, we really into real community development, and community development involves the community. A lot of people talk about different development, you know, and just getting excited seeing the money when it comes to flipping and stuff. We A lot of us are business owners, doctors, we got lawyers, we got teachers, and you know, we all came together really just for the purpose of really uplifting the community. Just happen, money it just involved, but I'll say it's been a great process. We started with 100, and it narrowed down into like what I was saying, like between 50 to 75. Um, but and the reason why it narrowed down, right? Uh, if anybody who wants to do this model, when it comes to group economics, you'll recognize that a lot of people don't understand long term appreciation, right? And I think Brother Ernest was trying to hit on that point at the end. You know, when it came to this investment opportunities, we were talking about not taking our money out until 4 years after, right? And so a lot of people just, you know, stuff happens, life happens, but we really got to focus on making sure our people really get that long term gratification, because a lot of times we miss out on opportunities because we don't appreciate, you know, the growth of our money, and we don't, what can I say, appreciate the process. And so, um, yeah, that's Kyoba. That's Kyoba, man. And who all my brothers that's on here, Kyoba strong, y'all. Kyoba strong. Love y'all to death. Love y'all to death. Kendrick, you're an honorary member. You already know, brother.
Always sign me up.
So, but yeah, I think that's kind of like the gist of it all. And I'm here for the Q&A if anybody have any questions. Um, was there anything else I was supposed to add, Crystal? Is there anything else you kind of want me to talk about when it came to that? Did I miss anything?
Latera, how are we doing on time?
So Lamontra, you still have 5 minutes. So if you want to
Awesome.
share a little more about the model, you can.
Okay.
Like y'all accomplishments. It'll be nice
Yeah.
to hear what you know.
Yeah, awesome. So, our main accomplishments right now is number one is sticking together, right? I talked about how hard it is sometimes to have people appreciate long-term growth of money, but the brothers in this group never fought over money, never, never ever. And and it could be hard too, right? Because you got a bunch of people who are CEOs in their own right, and for us not to bicker over money, and for us to all respect each other's opinion, and no matter how much money another brother put up, we are all on the same level field. We all have one vote, right? And so, and that's important because we got brothers who are millionaires in our group, right? And so it just points to the fact that it's really not about the money. It's really about the growth and really helping our community grow. And the reason why I really love it too is when we go into communities and they see us with our Kioba gear and everything on, they like the people who are selling drugs, stop and say, hey man, how are y'all, what y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? We always come through and showing love. And what I always say to them, my other brothers do it too, is, hey man, I know you doing your thing, but let's focus on buying the block too. You know what I'm saying? And also let's focus on getting some construction jobs, because we need more of our folks in the construction field. And so that's kind of, I label that as an accomplishment, and also teaming up with the community. So people been asking, to partner with them, to help them out with certain initiatives. One is with Baltimore Homes. We just did creating a micro shelter. We got one of our brothers, Rodney Carr, who's building a resource center right there on North Avenue near North and Penn. And if y'all don't know about it, it's called the I Care Resource Center. The bottom of it, and anybody who knows near that Penn North area in Sandtown, is pretty much a food desert, right? And so the brother created a grocery store at the bottom. The second floor, he got mental health specialists, and he got business incubator space so small businesses can, come and have a space to have meetings. And then the third floor, it's just it's activity space for young folks to we got dance studio in there, and also just like I would say an indoor playground. And so to see and be able to help with different initiatives when it comes to stuff like that, I think that's been our most important accomplishments of all. And I think one of my favorite accomplishments, my daughter turned 1 yesterday, but it goes into the family aspect. Like, we're really focusing on building generational wealth. It'll be selfish, and I say it to anybody, man, you selfish if you have children and you're not out here trying to build wealth for them. We can't keep spending money left and right. We gotta invest that money, and we gotta be able to pass it on to our children, because I'm tired of us keep going into the monopoly table and starting at the start. Like, no, my child needs to be a few steps up. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't, it'll just makes it a higher chance for them to reach that spot that's called jail on the monopoly board. And we don't need no more people in jail in our community. And so we stepping up as Black men. We stepping up, and that's what it'll be all about.
Hey,
Hey.
Thank you so much, Lamontre, named from French Baltimore. I'm going to remember that. I am absolutely going to remember that. That was amazing. I am all about, community reinvestment, from the community, by the community. Buying the block is absolutely an amazing thing. And I am actually very excited to get to the question and answer period for so far for both you and Ernest with, some of the questions we have coming in. Next, we're going to move on to my dear friend, my big brother, Mr. Kendrick Tilghman, who will speak on collective economics. He is the founder, I like to call him the Chief Innovative Officer of 5Starr Enterprise. So, Mr. Kendrick Tilghman, you have the floor.
5Starr.
You have 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes, Toastmaster.
I got it, and I got a timer right here to make sure I don't even touch nothing else but that. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kendrick Tilghman. I appreciate just being here. Thank you for the invite, Crystal, my fellow Toastmaster and sister, Dr. McFadden, and CEO Majors. Thank you for having me. I'm living a dream, y'all, honestly. It's just really been amazing to kind of have a company. A little background information on me with 5Starr Enterprise. I always preach about finding your life's work. Of course, I'm from Maryland, right in West Baltimore, Emerson Village. I went on to all public schools, went to the greatest school in the world, Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. No shade against anyone that went to the city college. I respect both schools, as you should. Calm down, Lamont Trey. I'm the only person that's been to your school in full poly gear, and they still said, that's DJ 5Starr. We still love him. We can't do nothing to him. We love him. So school engineering, Morgan State University, then got an MBA. And just a quick story, when I was DJ 5Starr and thought I was going to be that DJ in venues, Hammer Jacks was sold for $2.2 million. And I realized that the entertainment industry, the fashion industry, the athletic industry, all these things are fickle, where something can happen outside of your control that can change your bottom line. And so that was the reason why I said, I need to go back to school. And I went and got my MBA and created this company called 5Starr Enterprise, focusing around community outreach, educational services, and community engagement. I tell people, always say I'm not a thief, because I feel like your hustle is a situation, your job is how you pay the bills, your career is what you strive to be, but above your career is your life's work. Your life's work is why there are people doing research for 50 years straight, because they've connected these three things. The first ingredient to your life's work is whatever that you think about when you wake up. Your passion is something you love so much that you would do it for free. And two, it connects to solving a problem or satisfying a need. That's how you get sustainability. And then three, it makes the world a better place. Now, I'm from Emerson Village, so I remember friends of mine that were passionate about the hustle. They solved the problem or satisfied the need, but it didn't make the world a better place. The lifespan of that life's work is very short. A lot of my friends are not around anymore. And so that's why I want to focus on things that are positive. And that's why we created a product called Math Through Music, where my life's work is around education and STEM. I'm the STEM DJ. And so for me, it was around how do I connect 5th grade through 9th grade math and DJing. And so now we have a full-blown product. It's a duffel bag right here at the bottom of my feet. And so that's my life's work. And so I want everyone to find their life's work, because I feel like if you don't find your life's work, you're robbing the world of your purpose. And so now that you know my why, to me, it's about how do you connect your life's work to everyone else's life's work? And that's what we're talking about, collective economics. And so when I think about collective economics, it's about doing a SWOT analysis. SWOT, S-W-O-T, your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. So you got to make sure that your SWOT analysis is intact for yourself. You know what you're strong in, so that when you can identify strategic partners that are strong in your weaknesses. And so for us, understand that ego blocks us sometimes, and ego is an acronym for edging God out. And so thank you, Stephan, for that acronym, because I'll take that with me everywhere. And now the Most High is about bringing us together. So when you find yourself separating people or dividing people, whether for whatever reason, check your ego, because the Most High was about us to bringing us together. And so I have an intentional personal plan of connecting baby boomers and millennials. I had an analog childhood and a digital adulthood, so I understand the directness of a baby boomer. I love baby boomers. I married a baby boomer. She's the last year of the baby boomers. That's my heart. And in doing that, I've learned to have millennials stepchildren who produced me 2 grandchildren. So I'm a grandfather before I'm the age of 40, and I'm also a member of the GBLA. I'm a lifetime member. I think when I joined, I paid for all the years up to 40. And so I turn 40 next year, and I will be graduating out to move forward with the guild. And so I've just been excited at the ride and the relationships I found just here, because we're looking for mission-driven people, because you have ego-driven people. And so Dr. George Frazier said, look, Kendrick, 85% of African Americans don't even try to help. It's going to waste your time. It's going to drain your energy. You are a Pisces. So you feed off of energy, and you have to be around energy that lifts you up. So don't waste your time with the 85% they're not ready. They're not ready. They got to come to you. And once you get to the 15% that's going towards the light, because we are the light. Everyone on this panel, all of us that are already mission driven, we are already the light. So you got the 1% that's us. You got the 4% that's right there at the light that we can touch right there. And then you got the 15% that's on the fence that we can come bring towards the light. Other 85% we can't waste our time on, because time is so short. It's only 86,400 seconds in a day. So when you look at that from a financial perspective, it's $86,400. What would you spend that on? So when you say the Most High gives us 86,400 seconds in a day, what are you spending your time on? We don't have time to waste. I got 5 more minutes, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. And so with organizations like the GBLA, the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce, Black Professional Men, National Society of Black Engineers, National Black MBA Association, Intersection of Change, the Maryland Art Place, like all these are boards that I sit on because I want to serve. Like it's when I leave this earth, someone's going to say Kendrick served. He made sure that he spent his time wisely. He didn't waste his time, because he realized time is so precious. So when it comes to me being intentional about who I spend money or revenue on, it's about mission-driven connections. I know that my friends own restaurants. So if my wife doesn't cook, we gonna eat at a Collins, we gonna eat at a Granny's, we gonna eat at, it's gonna be one of the, she knows this. I got her well trained, because at the end of the day, it's collective economics. It's mission driven, not ego. It's not about our ego. That's edging God out. We're not edging God out. We're bringing them together. I got 3 more minutes. And so I want to bring together this last piece where it's about your time. Your time is the most precious thing that's non-refundable. You cannot get that back. We can get cars back. We got houses back. We've lost houses. We got cars. We got all that back. You can't get this time back. So your time is the most precious piece in this world. And so you got to give your time to those that are mission driven. Find organizations like the GBLA. Find organizations like the Urban League that all have something for you. They'll meet you where you are to get you where you need to be. The problem is some of us have trust issues because we've been hurt. I remember I threw an alley-oop and they missed the dunk, and then I blamed them. How can you miss the dunk? I threw you the ball, and I thought you said you was good at that. And then I said, you know what? That's my fault. I should have made sure that was his life's work. Or she was so passionate about that I wouldn't even have to oversee you. Because remember, entrepreneurship and this collective economics, Ernest said it best. We're trying to get to passive income. We want to make sure that we can bring in revenues while we're asleep. And so the only way to do that is by connecting the dots. And the dots are, and I'll close with this quote again from Dr. George Frazier. He says it best. When 1 and 1 comes together to collaborate, 1 + 1 only makes 2. But when 1 and 1 comes together to cooperate, 1 and 1 makes 11. #11 right there. And so he leveraged that as a page with a bunch of dots on it. He said this represents the Black community. All these dots, all the churches, Black church, Black schools, UMB, all the Black everything, the Black organizations, Urban League, all these dots are doing great in their silos. And then he flipped the page over and said, what if they were connected? And it was a whole web. And he said, so that is my personal agenda, is to bring unity to African Americans, bring unity to Black people, remove our ego and the opportunists out the way, because 85% of them we can't help. So we got to focus on the 15 and 4 and the 1, and that's my 10 minutes. Thank you so much for that time.
You better come on through. You better come, y'all don't pay them tithes and offerings right now. Come on. Come on through, bruh. I'm getting ready to come up on a pulpit. You didn't say a word. You didn't say a word. Thank you, all of you so far. But I just fell out the pew right now. So I'm gonna go back and sit down. But thank you, brother.
My pleasure.
Yes, I appreciate you, Kendrick, and I'm glad you were within time, because I would have went back to our Toastmasters president and talked about you. And pulling up the rear is a dynamic woman, because women are dynamic, Miss Portia M. Woods, Esquire, and I yield the floor to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me on this distinguished panel. You guys have been incredible. You're a hard act to follow, but I'm going to do my best. Okay. You all are talking about how to create the bag, how to get it, right? What we do is we are estate planning attorneys. We are, how do you transfer it? How do you build it? How do you protect it? So that's what we're going to talk about real quick. Obviously, I can't tell you everything, so I'm going to go really quick. We're talking about building and protecting Black wealth. Who am I? I am a Western dove. I heard someone say Baltimore Polytechnic. Kendrick, I believe that was you. So, hey, neighbor.
Yep,
I've been an attorney at law since 2011. I have my BA in journalism from Cal State Northridge, a JD from the University of Maryland, a dual LLM from Pepperdine University School of Law. I am founding partner of Wood Legal Group with my mother. So we are a multi-generational, female-owned and operated Black woman estate planning law firm. We are members of the American Academy of Estate Planning Attorneys. Oh, gosh, there's so much. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, top 40, under 40 for California by the National Black Lawyers Association. And I am mom to a 3-year-old. I say all of that to say, I've done a lot of school to get to this point to be able to share some of this information with you. So let me see if I can get this to move. Who are we? Again, we are a mother-daughter team. Why am I here talking to you? First and foremost, wealth in our community has not been well protected. And we are having these conversations about generational wealth, but we haven't learned the tools of what the legal documents are to actually transfer what we're making to the next generation without losing pieces of it, and making sure that we're giving our kids the right structure, that they get some creditor protection on the assets that we pass them, that we can put in some restrictions to ensure those assets grow. We have to learn how to pass the bag once we get it. So 2020 has been an unprecedented year. We have the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, as all of us know, right? But it's been catastrophic for Black families in this country. We are more likely to catch COVID. We are more likely to get very sick from COVID, and all of that has to do with lots of systemic issues. But we are also dying more often than anybody else from this disease. And so estate planning, how we protect what we have been working every day for, is really important for us to do right now. 70% of African Americans have no estate planning at all, zero. Which means that 70% of us are requiring court interference every time we die or get sick, which means the court is taking pieces of our money that should be going to our kids and our beneficiaries, and it's not. It's going to lawyers and court fees, et cetera. We are losing the majority of our wealth at the generation transfer. It is estimated that Americans as a whole pay up to $2 billion a year for going through a probate process. Mind you, if you have the right estate plan in place, you can avoid probate entirely. So the fact that $2 billion is being lost annually is actually just waste, right? And more than half of that is in attorney's fees, which in many states is set by statute based on the gross value of your estate. So when we think about this loss, right, all of this getting the bag, setting up our stocks, buying our real estate, X, Y, and Z, if you leave that real estate in the hands of the court, they can sell it to pay off your debts, which means it didn't actually make it to your beneficiaries if you haven't protected it well. If the racial wealth divide is left unaddressed, this is a number from 2017. The median Black household wealth is on a path to hit zero by 2053. That's in our lifetime, you guys. Zero. And this has actually been accelerated because of the COVID-19 crisis. Because of the way that we are being affected by this health crisis, more and more of us are dying right now, which was not estimated when these numbers were happening. So this has actually been, this timeline has been accelerated. The time is right now. In the first quarter of 2020, 44% of Black families nationally owned their homes, compared to 73.7% of white families. About half, right? 2/3 of wealth in this country is held in home equity. And we do not have access. We have not had access, redlining, predatory lending, et cetera. I mean, there are systemic reasons why we don't, but for those of us who have been able, despite those issues, been able to get homes and keep them, once we die, we're then losing them in the probate process and in the court system, or from an heirship process, or because we didn't set up the right structure for who our beneficiaries are to make sure that they can succeed. Because of this legacy of slavery, institutional racism, we tend to have more complex family structures, which are not easily accounted for under the law. If you have a blended family, if you have children from different relationships, if you're a grandparent and you're raising a grandchild, your grandchild is not your direct beneficiary, right? Their parent is, and maybe they are incarcerated from the war on drugs, which was really just a war on Black and brown communities. But this means that we have to do more conscious estate planning as it relates to what we are building. So, people always come to my office and they go, I never thought that could happen to me, right? I just thought that when grandma passed away, the house would become mine. And in Baltimore specifically, we have a lot of issues with people who never went through the probate process, which means they never actually transferred title to the house. If you don't have title to the house and all you did was keep paying the insurance, right? Paying the bills, just kept paying them, but you never actually legally transferred title, you can't prove your ownership. And that's part of what happened in New Orleans after Katrina. People always said, oh, it was so racist. These insurance companies didn't pay out to Black families. Well, that's because they couldn't prove their ownership despite the fact that they kept paying. Insurance companies will take your money, but we've got to do the pieces. So we really, people always come in and they go, I just didn't know that was the process. How should we be thinking about wealth? Again, this is a really expedited version, you guys, so I'm trying to get through it quick. We should be thinking about wealth as opportunity, right? It is not millions of dollars in a mansion. That's not wealth. If you have a home, I don't care what neighborhood it is, that home has the ability to be transformational. 13% of college-educated African Americans pass $10,000 or more to the next generation. Only 13%. Which means 87% of college-educated African Americans are passing less than $10,000 to the next generation. And it's not because we don't have wealth to pass on, it's because we don't have the right structure in place to make sure that it's not being redistributed to all of these different places before it gets to our beneficiaries. We're not protecting it. And of that 13%, the average amount passed is about $41,000. It's not even enough to pay off a 4-year tuition at a state school, right? Compared to our white counterparts that are 43% of them approximately are passing $10,000 or more. And on average, $163,000 plus, enough to pay off a 4-year university, as well as put a down payment on an almost $600,000 house. That's wealth building. Because there are structures in place that help them to protect the assets that they built. I mean, again, also the racial wealth gap, there's a lot of issues, but we're losing the game of the generation transfer. And estate planning is the everlasting gift that we can give our families, and it's really important that we do so. When we think about estate planning, you need to think about what's most valuable to you. We're talking about money, but most people are really talking about their family security, having a baseline for their family so that they don't have to struggle as hard as they did, that they can have a leg up so that they're not starting over from zero every time. Their friends, their community, their health, their life lessons. I mean, these are all pieces that should be a part of your estate plan so that the generations that come after you not only benefit economically from you, but also they know the shoulders that they stand on, what you stood for, why you worked so hard, because that gives them a guiding light, right? Long after you're gone, for how they should live in the world. Let's think about Chadwick Boseman, right? He died this year in 2020 after a battle with cancer, and his wife is currently in Los Angeles Superior Court on a probate because his estate wasn't protected. And it's approximately $1 million estate. And let's be clear, by statute, attorney's fees and executor's fees represent $46,000 of that $1 million estate gone by statute. That is before anybody fights. That is before they have to deal with any real estate. That is before attorneys get extraordinary fees, before the court fees are paid or anything else. $46,000 by statute is gone on that $1 million estate. Those are the statutory fees, just because he didn't have the right structure. So, how can we do better? One, understand your own family goals. This is key because there's a million different ways to set up your estate, but your goals are going to dictate what your estate plan looks like. Because while your asset level might be lower than, say, what a complex plan might dictate, if you have goals that are much bigger, you might need a more comprehensive estate plan. Also understanding your family, right? Who are the people who will benefit from you? If they're receiving government services, they cannot inherit from you outright. They will lose those government benefits. And so there are things that you have to do to protect the assets that you've put in place. If they're minors, if they're special needs, if they're just bad with money, right? Like all of those pieces, you've got to consider them. And educate. Take the time to educate yourself on the options that are available to you. Like I said, there are lots of ways to set up your estate, to set up business succession planning. You know, we hear these horror stories of these incredible partnerships that people are doing, and then one of the partners dies. And all of a sudden, the other partners are now partners with their kids or their parents. And they're like, you don't know how to pull your own weight. And now you're, in our business mix, because they didn't set up a proper succession plan for what happens if something happens to one of the partners. We can't just focus on how do we get the bag. We've got to also say, how do we protect it? I think I'm out of time, but I'll finish it this way, right? The way that we can best take care of ourselves is to have land. And this is a quote from Reverend Garrison Frazier, which actually came after the Civil War. This was the quote that actually spurred the 40 acres and a mule idea, right? That Lincoln signed into law and died before it could become a reality for Black people. But what he said was, we, the Black people, don't need you to take care of us. What we need is land that we can till. And so when we think about that idea, and in today's world, we need to think about how do we not just get the land, but how do we keep it? How do we protect it? How do we grow it? Thank you. I will stop there. Oh, what's the legacy you want to leave behind? Please leave behind solid foundational planning, right? Leave that behind. You can avoid court interference entirely with a proper estate plan. Probate is not a rite of passage. Probate is not necessary. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Oh, suggested reading list. Sorry, I'll leave that up for a sec, but I got all kinds of stuff, right? When Affirmative Action Was White is an incredible book. I think all of you should read it. It will help you understand the system of how white people were able to build wealth. We talk about affirmative action generally. In fact, I've heard some Black people even talking about how affirmative action is bad. Let's talk about when it was white and then come back and talk about why we should get it now. Color of Law is also a really good one. Forgotten history of how the government segregated our country, how it affected our property values, and then using that historical knowledge to really go forward and make some changes. There is also, for those of you who may not have seen it, on Netflix, there's this show called Explained. It is great. They explain all these little topics in really sort of 15-minute videos, but they did one on the racial wealth gap that is so good. It is so good. It is the best 15 minutes you can give yourself today when this is over, right? Because you want to be here right now. But when this is over, you can go on YouTube and find it if you don't have Netflix. It breaks it down so well to help you understand compounding interest, to help you understand the markets, right? They talk about if you had $100 in the 1800s in the markets, it'd be worth more than $3 million today just because of compounding interest. Wealth begets wealth, and wealth is opportunity. Right. So thank you. Okay, I'm gonna stop there because now I'm just like going off on a tangent. You can tell it's my favorite topic.
Yes. Oh man, thank you so much, Ms. Woods. Like that was amazing. Even when it was quick, especially the book list. You just added a lot of new books to my ever-growing list of books to read.
Well, when our book launches, hopefully in a couple of weeks, I'll have to add that one.
Your book launches in a couple of weeks, you're going to drop the link and we're going to purchase it.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen. So now we are about to move into our question and answer period, which I am really excited about. Portia, if you could stop sharing so we can have everyone on screen. So I have a few questions to start with, and then we are going to leave it to our audience to ask questions. So the first question, sorry, got to pull up my list. So the first question that I have, and we can go in order of how you presented, or one or two of you can take the question. Let's kind of rotate out so we can receive the knowledge from all of our panelists. So the first question that I am going to present to the group is, what are the first steps a layperson can do to participate in any of the wealth building activities?
What was you said what type of person?
Sorry, I'm gonna restate the question. What are the first steps a layperson can do to participate in any of the wealth building activities? So anybody, what can anybody do to participate in these wealth building activities?
Got it. So from a stock perspective, you just need to have money, and you need to have a bank account, and then open a investment account. If you are, new to the stock market, I would recommend maybe a Robinhood. It doesn't have the frills of some of the other applications. You don't get as much as you would some of the other applications, but it's a starting block for you to learn about the market, to put your money in and to see it, fluctuate, to get used to that, right? And then as you get more comfortable and you realize that you need more data, then there's other applications and companies that you can use to put the money into it and invest from there.
Okay, that's a great answer. Lamontre from Baltimore, France. I want to ask you this question because I know that your organization is specifically geared towards our brothers, right?
Right.
And so I want to ask you that question as well. What are the steps, make sure I say it right, what are the ways that they can participate, the steps that they can participate in the wealth building activities, especially because your organization focuses on the community and it focuses on brothers making the community better?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to that queen who just talked about estate planning, because that's so important. One of our brothers actually died from COVID, and so luckily we had certain stuff in place where his funds, once we finish up the year, can be transferred over to his family without no issues. But it would have been a deeper issue if we didn't have certain stuff in place. But I was gonna say, when it comes to like the real estate side or anybody want to get involved, first off, when it comes to Kioba, if you want to get involved, connect with us. KIOBA Ventures, VENTURES. I'll put it in the chat. That's on Facebook and on Instagram. It's easy to reach us. I just finished my MHIC class, and so soon Kioba will be able to help fix your home or whatever issues you got going on. So if you want to keep that dollar circulating within the community, you can always do that. And I would say when it comes to real estate in general, I would say start off with trying to purchase your first home, right? It's different programs out there. You got FHA, which requires 3.5% down payment, right? You got the conventional loan, which usually, 15, 20%, sometimes 10, it depends. And then you got some veterans, right? And veterans, shout out to the vets. Y'all don't need no down payment, So and it's a lot of programs out there that's really there to help assist you. You got Home Free USA, which is, I believe, the Black-owned home buying course situation that helps you qualify for different grants here in Baltimore. I think that's the best way to go. And if you thinking about buying properties as a group with other folks, set up that contract, right? Make sure everybody clear on everything, and set up that bank account. And really, I would say, have somebody who you trust with the money, right? Because last thing you want is somebody run away with your hard-earned money. And that happens sometimes, right? And so it's very important not only to get the bag, but like the queen said, to secure the bag. So
Absolutely. I wanted to add on to that real quick. There's also a
Absolutely.
program called NACA that's out there that's specifically available, to help people become able to and qualify for home ownership, which I know a couple of people who have gone through that program, and it's been very successful for them in getting good.
Yeah, and they get low interest on that the NACA stuff as well. So
I was going to say that you can buy it down to I think as low as maybe 1 point something percent your interest rate for your house, which is amazing.
Amazing. It's basically free money.
Yeah.
Well, y'all are smart. So another question I had was, sorry. So Ms. Portia did provide us a wealth of information to kind of look into, but what are some good sources of information to continue to learn? Definitely everyone who's on here, make sure you follow the Greater Baltimore Urban League, the Greater Baltimore Leadership Association, and the Greater Baltimore Urban League Guild, because we are always having presentations and events to provide information to our communities. But other than following us and making sure that you participate in our activities, what are some sources for knowledge for the community? And I know, Portia, you gave us a great list of books, but if you have more, which I feel like you do, would you mind sharing?
Sure. So one of the big challenges is that there is a lot of really bad information out there. And I don't know if that's intentionally to confuse our community, but I've seen things in like Black Enterprise where people are saying, yo, we only need a will, or you should have a will. And what most people don't realize is that, yeah, while a will is good, a will isn't going to avoid court interference if your asset level, if your assets include a home or your asset level is above your state's threshold. So, a will really isn't the right bit of information. We do educational webinars every month. We have 2 coming up, one on December 2nd, specifically for parents of minor kids, because planning for your minor children is very different than if you don't have kids or if you have adult children. And then the second one is on December 10th, which is about just estate planning in general. What does it need to look like? What is the process? Why is it important, et cetera? Those are really great places to start. And then going from there and saying, okay, now that I know this, what else can I learn about it? But yeah, if you just do a Google search, there's not a lot of good information there.
Okay. So Ernest, I'm going to also bring this question to you and ask you to kind of tie in some of your presentation that we missed. So if you could kind of share some resources while sharing some of the additional information from your presentation that we ran out of time with sharing.
Sure. So resources as far as investing, is that what we're referring to?
Well,
or
information, so we can be more knowledgeable on the resources. So like you brought up Robinhood, where can we find information to kind of understand what Robinhood is?
Understood. So you can do literally a Google search on Robinhood. There's a wealth of information out there. You are going to find that the traditional investors are not a fan of Robinhood because Robinhood was a big disruptor in the community because they introduced basically zero commission fees. And that was one of the ways that the financial industry was making money off of you by basically charging you a fee just to place an order. So that's like, imagine going to Walmart, right? And you buy something online for, $10, and Walmart charges you $7.95 just because you bought one item for $10, and they keep charging you that every single time, right? So that's what the financial industry was doing. So Robinhood came and squashed a lot of that, and so the industry doesn't like them. So this, I'm forewarning you now. As far as other information, there's plenty. I mean, it's really dependent on you and dependent on how you invest, because there's many different ways to invest. Technically, when you do it through your 401k or your 403b, you're technically investing into the market. It's a different type of account, but you're still investing, right? So the first resource I would say would be your job, because you want to make sure that your job if it provides the 401k benefit, that you are taking advantage of that like as much as possible. That's literally free money. They're giving you a certain amount of percentage based on the amount of money that you contribute to your own retirement. So if you, so that's the very first place that I would start. And the goal is to maximize that, to get the IRS limits of what you can for that 401k. That's the first thing. And then once you get past that, and you're ready to get into the financial market, then again, there's plenty of different apps out there. They all have pros and cons. It's really dependent on you and your level of knowledge and your level of interest. But again, I think the Robinhood will probably be the best one. Also, one of the cool things about Robinhood, I'm not selling Robinhood at all. I don't make any money for this. But one of the cool things about it is that they have a referral program that will give you a free stock just for referring someone and them signing up. They don't have to do anything. So you both get one free stock. So you get, a stock and you can see how it works without even having to put a dollar into it. I think as far as resources, I'll just show you this. And this is some returns of some of the companies that we use every day, right? So how many of us have an Apple phone, right? Just from the point from when the iPhone was launched in 2007 to now, there's been a 390% return, right? So you can see here, I just listed some of the companies that we use. Facebook, we all have a Facebook account. Chipotle, Google, Amazon, we all have used those things. And just if you put a little bit of money in, you can see where that money would get you right now. So, not to take a lot of time, but that's just one thing that I wanted to show and highlight.
Oh man, that was great. I agree with you. I really like Robinhood. One thing that I like about Robinhood is that they send out what they call Robin snacks or something like that. And it's like little information on some different stocks, things that are like hot topic stocks that you should consider. They also put information out when Apple and Tesla decided to split their shares. They put out information and describe what a split share was. And that just FYI, one note for me that I learned about building wealth was you invest in what you buy. So like he said, all of us own iPhones. So everybody should at least have a partial share of Apple, because you use it every day. You should own what you buy, because that way you're always getting paid to own what you like. So my next question is, and then I'm going to leave it to our wonderful viewing audience to kind of send me questions. My last question is, what is the most important, make sure I read this correctly. What is the most important thing we can do to protect our wealth? And I know Ms. Wood said definitely estate planning, but other than estate planning, what is like the most important thing we can do to protect our wealth, unless that is it?
I can say education too. Like I see a lot of us, lose money or lose opportunities or sell grandma house because we ain't educated about what's going on here in our own city, right? So when we know better, we do better. And can I add one more thing too? That
Absolutely.
Robinhood thing. Like Robinhood, not only did it change the game, but it really helped. I say it's changed the Black community left to right. It allowed for the regular average Joe to do certain things like start trading options, right? And that's a separate thing. But you used to have like over $200,000 in your bank account in order to even go to trade options. And Robinhood allowed us the opportunity to get involved. And I got a couple of friends now who just started trading options this year and just came up in Forbes. And so it's been really impacting the community. So shout out to Robinhood.
Yep. Anybody else with, what we can do to protect our wealth?
I would say, I'm going to just piggyback on that. Education is key. When we know better, we do better. But then you add in sort of the estate planning piece. Once you know better, then protect it. You can't sell grandma's house if grandma wrote in her trust that you can't sell it.
Yes.
You're stuck, right? Like
Yes.
you can set up the structure for the generations that come after you that keep them from making mistakes. Yeah. Because we are not all going to learn the same things. We are not going to all get the same education. My son is 3, right? And I have to restrict his assets that I would leave to him because if I die tomorrow, I don't know what he'll learn. And so my plan has to reflect my values and my knowledge so that I can keep him from making stupid mistakes. He's not allowed to sell my real estate. And if we all went in and said, you can't sell the real estate, it would be stuck. So, definitely the knowledge part. I do have to piggyback also on the Robinhood piece. It definitely changed the game for accessibility. I also think Stash is really great because it allows you to invest in ETFs. So you can invest in funds, which means you can get little portions of a lot of different companies. Yep. One of the ones that I like a lot is Delicious Dividends because it pays quarterly dividends, right? Every single quarter I'm reinvesting, getting, money begetting money, right? Also, you can do custodial accounts on Stash. So you can do that for minors. You can start to invest for them. And the more we know about compounding interest, the longer we have money in the market, the more it grows. So if you have children or you have nieces or nephews or beneficiaries, as long as their parents are going to give you their social security number, you can set up a custodial account for them and invest on their behalf. And it doesn't have to be a lot. Someone said, and Ernest, this is really your area, but so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a 20-year-old who puts away $25 into an investment account, by the time they hit retirement age, will have about 1.1 million. A 30-year-old who starts at the same time would need to put away about $500 a month to be able to hit the same number. And that's compounding interest. Because the amount of time it takes, your rate of return and the amount of time it takes for your money to double. So if you're getting a 7% or a 10% return, your doubling rate is going to depend on how many years you have in the market. So when we start our babies with just a little bit, if they're born and you start putting $5 a month away in an account that is getting interest for them or investing on their behalf, they will be set up by the time they are, in their 30s and 40s and 50s. That's where we're sort of losing. I see the life insurance question. Similar point, right? Buy you life insurance on your babies. Every time a new baby is born, put a whole life policy on them. It doesn't have to be a lot, right? Do what's in your budget, but do something because those policies cash compound. And so it's a similar concept. And your kids can borrow up to like 80% of the cash value that's inside of that policy as tax-free to go and do different things like buy real estate or start a business or go to college. And so, and have a death benefit that has continued to grow for the generation that comes after them. So we have to be utilizing all of these financial vehicles that are available to us to really build wealth.
The book that I would highly recommend is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you've never read that book, please read that book. It will literally change your life because what it does is it helps you unlearn a lot of things and it helps you see how money is really made. I know personally growing up in inner city Baltimore, my only idea of getting money was to get out the hood, get a degree, and then hopefully this degree will get me a good job, and my job will allow me to have the spoils of life where I can go on vacations and house and cars and stun on everybody. You know what I mean? But what I learned is that there's so many different ways to make money. And Rich Dad, Poor Dad kind of gives you like a almost a step-by-step guide of things that you can do to be able to have your money, make money for you. I think, and not to bring up this whole, versus battle, but like one of the things that was key to it was that, everyone was talking about, like Gucci Man was saying, well, maybe next time when we battle, we should do a jewelry contest. And then Jeezy said, well, maybe next time when we battle, we should have a real estate contest. And I thought that was like, just hit the nail on the head, because changing how we think and how we use our money to create money is something that, that's one of the whole reasons why I got into the stock market. And because of that, it allowed me to get into actually other business opportunities. So I highly recommend it.
Wow, thank you both. Yeah, I want to kind of jump to a few things you said when Portia said the estate planning pretty much restricts you from selling family land. And I know in my family, my great grandfather, great grandfather, it is written that no one can sell that land. It has to transfer to a person in the family. So somebody in the family needs to make sure that it's okay at all times. And it's amazing how I've watched my dad and his cousins take turns paying taxes, to make sure that they pretty much follow the rule of the family that, no, this land belongs to us forever. And then I also think that Ernest said some great things about changing our mindset and understanding the different things we need to know. And that takes me to, I know, Portia, you gave us a list of books, but if you all could, even if you don't have it right now, if you could share with Crystal a list of books that you definitely recommend that we all read so that we can have them for the future. And, and then do we have any other questions from our attendees?
I saw we have some in the chat box, Latera. People have been posting questions in there during the panel.
Okay, let me go back up and see what I can see. I know someone asked for a book list, so I did address that.
Well, I have one. I'm curious to know, for our panelists, what are some of the barriers of entry do you think that people have that have prevented them from working with you? Because you all provided a wealth of information that I'm sure if everyone was to take the information that you gave and was to get educated, we could do a lot with it. So what are some reasons that you feel like people have not worked with you, and how can we get around that so that more people can work with you?
I think it goes back to so that redlining piece, started here in Baltimore, right? And so I think a lot of people are just nervous or scared to seek the education. And I think more and more, as I hate to say it, but man, the more and more entertainers kind of like make it cool, right? And I hate for us to, as a culture, I hate to say that, but yeah, the more they make it cool, the more I guess people, becoming more open. And we've been seeing this Black wealth renaissance happening right in front of our eyes, and it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful.
Lamontre, that's funny because you said the more and more entertainers, because at first everybody was like, when Jay-Z came out with the 444 album, which realistically, when you listen to it, is pretty much a blueprint of what you need to do to, create and solidify wealth. Like, he's literally saying, these are the things we need to do. All of a sudden, like you said, people are like, oh, wait, let me think about this. Like, even in, like you said, buying of art, now people are like, let me think about investing in art because the return on that investment could be beneficial to me and my family. So yeah, I'm with you. I kind of hate to be like, so they have to do it for it to be cool, but at least it's becoming cool. So I am all for that.
I think some of that fear, though, is coming from, again, the lack of knowledge, right? Like, there have been, our community gets preyed on all the time by people who are touting these ways to get wealthy, right? There were wealth building seminars that targeted Black churches to talk about purchasing real estate, and they offered subprime loans to our community, despite the fact that we had the right credit scores, right? They had to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in discrimination lawsuits after 2008 when we had that whole crash because they were giving us subprime loans. And people are thirsty for this information. They want to know, but they also need to know that they can trust you, because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And some people are really going, in it for themselves. And it's hard to know who to trust. And so I think that the education piece is keeping people from moving forward. And I think when the entertainers do it and they're setting up a blueprint, it's not so much that it's like, it's been cool, but it's been exposure by someone that they trust. Right. And then it's like, okay, well, let me get some more information about this. They're talking about it. They're guiding us. I trust them. So now maybe I should look into this some more. I think it's about having those change makers in our community really coming up and stepping up and talking about it like this panel right here.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull
finance-
Kendrick in. Oh, sorry. I'm going to pull Kendrick in, and then I'm going to loop back to Ernest because I want you to close us out and then answer this question that was put in the chat. So Kendrick, because you speak on community economics, I want you to kind of add to this conversation in terms of what steps, what we need to do, how do we create that trust? Because I know you spoke about that 15% that will buy in. So how do we create that trust to keep and engage that 15% and eventually sway the 85?
Well, let me lead with a couple facts. So the first fact is that 2% of businesses that look like us only have one employee. So you're dealing with a lot of solopreneurs. And the second fact is we are only the third generation in of entrepreneurship. My grandfather owned the Sphinx Club. My father says I have a lot of qualities on entrepreneurship that he had. Beyond my grandfather and beyond the generations of entrepreneurship, our counterparts have 17 generations in entrepreneurship. So when we have a bad experience at a African-American establishment, we got to remember there are only 3 generations in. And so we got to, say, be intentional. I want to keep my dollar and support who I want to support. 2, give them information to help them grow, because the more we support them, the more they can scale. And so I always say, let's just remove the word networking from our vocabulary and replace it with relationship building. If we just focus on building a relationship, we'll build that trust. And as we build that trust, I'm going to refer business to you because we have that trust. And now you're going to build capacity. So we remove the word networking and we replace it with relationship building and capacity building, because we know that only 2% of the businesses in the whole country have more than one employee. And we know that we only have 3 generations in. That means it takes more, it strengthens numbers and power and unity. It takes a team. And if the Most High had 12 disciples, why do you think you can do it by yourself? So we got to start really getting to know each other, so know that we can build the relationships. So now I know that you're strong in this, Crystal. I don't have to look to even know. I know what she does. She does it well. So now I don't worry about you missing the dunk. I can throw you the oop and look the other way, because now I've already built a relationship with Crystal. I know what she does well, and so I already know that the end result of entrepreneurship, and this is for everyone listening, is not to quit. The end result is for your systems and relationships to be all in place that you can oversee you don't have to run your business day to day. And so everything is about the scale. If you are a solopreneur, you need to write this down, because the M plus M plus M equals M. Your message plus your methodology plus your movement equals money. I think I said that right. So your message is something that African Americans have been strong at. We can create a powerful message. We can bring people around that message and create a powerful movement. However, our methodology gets messed up. We don't have an accountant. We don't have a lawyer. We don't have the things in place. We don't have systems in place. We don't have a CRM system. We don't have an accounting system. So these systems are why sometimes our message and our movement gets snatched and pulled into other methodologies, because the equation is M plus M plus M equals M. It's your message plus your movement plus your methodology equals money. And so you got to be intentional on where you want to spend your money, but you also got to be intentional who you bring around you, because now you know that you need a team. It's no I in team. And so that really makes sure that we as a people become intentional on that 15% and know, okay, I do this well. I don't do this so well. So I need to find Miss Portia Woods, because she does that well. And I need to come build a relationship. So it doesn't happen overnight. We build a relationship. because now we earn trust with each other, and now I can refer business to her because I know other people that need what that she's an expert. And so we ought to acknowledge the experts, bring the experts to panels like this so we can have a discussion so that we can continue to build relationships and then continue to build capacity. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a word, and I wrote that down. Message plus movement plus methodology equals money, right?
Correct.
And then, so now I'm going to go over to Ernest and get your point and then ask you a question that somebody put in the chat.
Sure. So I think one of the fears when it comes to getting into the stock market for a lot of us is that we don't know anyone else that does it. You know, so one of the things that I did in my frat is I created, I mentioned this earlier, is I created a platform just for the members of my fraternity. It's called Oil Spill Investments. And it's just a platform where we can talk about financial literacy. And you would be surprised, just as simple as creating that platform, allow people that's even within my fraternity to have a safe space where we can talk about various income producing assets, whether it's the stock market, whether it's real estate, whether it is entrepreneurship, whether it's anything that can make money, we talk about it. And you would be surprised just the amount of people that, that my frat brothers that have reached out to me, they're saying, well, I've been in the frat for 20 plus years and, I've never had anyone to talk about this with, So if you're in a space, in a fraternity where things like that, are supposed to be encouraged to be talked about, imagine just being at home, right? And not having that network, right? So, but one of the great equalizers is social media, right? Mm-hmm. Social media connected us in more ways than one. Not only can we share those funny memes, not only can we share what's going on in our minds, we can create groups to have these conversations. And, whether it's a stock tip or, hey, I'm thinking about this, what do you guys think? Like, you can bounce ideas off of people. We have the means, and we can still be socially distant. Social media was social distancing prior to the pandemic, right? So we have the means to be able to collaborate, as Kendrick mentioned earlier, to be powerful, right? But we have to just search for it and find it.
That's great. And so to piggyback off of that, the question that was posed to you specifically was, the person was wondering if you could talk about options. So they're heavy in the stocks, but they're new to options. So for the good of the group, can you explain the difference quickly? What is a stock and what are options? And then.
Yes. So quickly, a stock is ownership, right? When I purchase a stock or a share of a company, I am purchasing partial ownership of that company, right? So, whereas an option is what's called a derivative, right? And what that is it gives you literally the option to buy or sell a contract based on a certain price. So you are betting that based on various market conditions or macroeconomic conditions, that the stock price is either going to go up or it's going to go down, right? And you are saying that I am going to, say that this stock is, or this company, is going to increase by a certain percentage or decrease by a certain percentage. And if you are correct, you have then the option to purchase those, what you kind of put out there that you wanted to purchase. Now, I will caution you, right? There's a saying when it comes to options that I will take from the great orator, the notorious B.I.G., right? And it's rule number 10, a strong word called options. It's strictly for live men, not for freshmen, right? If you don't know what you're doing, say hell no, because they're going to want their money, rain, sleet, hail, snow, right? So the reason that I said that is because if you don't, like, options is a whole nother game, right? I would, be very cautious in getting into it. Not saying that you can't be good at it, right? But I would really, really, really get an understanding of it before you get into it, because they're going to want their money, right? And unfortunately, there was an incident that happened a few months ago where a person who really wasn't knowledgeable about options thought that they lost like millions of dollars, right? And unfortunately, they took their own life, right? But it was because they really didn't understand what it is they was going into. So I say that as a form of caution, not saying that you shouldn't get into it, but I just say that, there's a wealth of information out there that you can get, that you can learn about it, but please learn about options, prior to getting into it.
So I have a question as a point of clarity for that. So you remember in the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy? It's Eddie Murphy, right?
Yeah.
My favorites.
So when the Duke brothers lost their seats, was that options?
No, I think that was just more corporate structure, and shareholders. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
When they went to the exchange and tried to like buy the orange juice, the orange juice and all these things.
Yeah, you know what? I would have to look at it again. I don't want to lie. I have to look at it again. Yeah, that's not the goal at all.
Okay, so for the good of the order, if you all could just share quickly your contact information verbally and then drop it in the chat so that people can know how to reach you to find out more information from you and about you, that would be awesome. Anybody can go first.
Sure. So I am currently, you can find me on Instagram under 7_streams_E, I believe it is. I can be found on Instagram on the 7streams_E underscores in between. And be on the lookout because there's some other things that I'm working on. So I will reroute everyone to the new site once it's up and running.
I appreciate it. Make sure you drop it in the chat so people can also write it down. Ms. Portia, you want to go next?
Sure. We are Wood Legal Group across all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, etc. We are woodlegalgroup.com. You can find all of our upcoming webinars and speaking engagements there, as well as opportunities to connect. We have an ebook that's launching on Monday that is free, which is really just a bunch of helpful terminology and information to get started the conversation. But I'll drop it in the chat and you guys hopefully will stay in touch.
Great, thank you. Lamontre from Baltimore, France.
You ain't gonna let that go.
Nope,
I love it. But everybody, you can follow me at Lamontre Randall. I put it in the chat on Instagram. You can Lamontre Randall on Facebook. You can follow Kioba at Kioba Ventures, KIOBEBA, my fault, BA Ventures, on Instagram, and Kioba Ventures on Facebook as well. And just shoot me a DM, and I'm here for you, whatever you need.
And last but not least, Mr. Kendrick Tilghman.
Just to make it simple, I'm still DJ 5Starr. So my link tree takes you to everything. You can set up a meeting from the link tree. You can follow me on YouTube, to Periscope, Instagram, all of that in the link tree. And that's just linktr.ee/DJ 5Starr. You can go to dj5starr.com, click on Philanthropic Partners, and you'll see all the boards I serve. I serve as the president of the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce, vice president of Black Professional Men, president of the Baltimore County African American Cultural Festival, Delegate Madam Speaker, Delegate Adrian Jones, the founder of that, and she just celebrated a birthday. Happy belated birthday, Madam Speaker. And of course, I'm just here to serve. Remember I told you it's only 86,400 seconds in a day, so we want to make sure we're spending our time wisely. So I'm having an event this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So if you're looking for a virtual gathering for your family, you can do that on Thanksgiving. We'll have content available, and then we'll lead right into Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. Of course, the Greater Baltimore Urban League will have a free room if you like to have one. It will be in our subscription of Hop In virtual venues. You'll see that in my link tree as well for tickets and sponsorships of things of that nature. But we just really practice what we preach. I want to bring unity to all of the organizations. Hop In is a platform we call virtual venues, can host up to 100,000 people. So of course there's no limit to how many people you can have on that virtual platform with your family or with your partners, with your organization, or with just someone that wanted to hear content. We'll have comedians, we'll have me playing some music. I got a live band we're going to be sending that virtually. So we just want to make sure we can bring some unity and while we can stay safe in this virtual world during this pandemic. And so again, that's linktr.ee/DJ 5Starr, and you'll see everything in our link tree for information on that. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Drop it in the chat. Like you said, support. Go to all of those events on Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, but don't spend all your money so that on Giving Tuesday, you can then give to the Greater Baltimore Urban League.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so if all hearts and minds are on one accord, I am going to hand it over to our amazing planner of this awesome event, Miss Crystal Sylvester, who, like, you know, when you are in a role, look, I got to give a quick speech. You know how you are in a role when you join an organization. So when I first joined the Urban League, I was the director of financial empowerment, loved it, enjoyed it. And to hand it off to someone like Crystal, it's like Kendrick said, I just tossed it up and I walked away, and I have never had to look back because she's so insightful, she's so innovative, and she's always planning such amazing events. And it's an honor for her to ask me to moderate one of her events. Like I put all my trust into her. Like, I think she's amazing. And so it's just so awesome to be able to pass the torch and know that you can literally walk away. So Crystal, great job. And I hand it back to you.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. The feeling is absolutely mutual. So definitely a pleasure to work with you all. I want to make sure that we provide the information that was asked for today. I know a lot of people, they want the contact information. It was shared in the chat, but in case you didn't get it there, I'm going to do my best to post it to our IG story at GBLA Impact. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at GBLA Impact. I'm going to post a story that's going to link to our panelists' IG Instagrams. Also, we have the book list that people were mentioning different books as resources. So what I went ahead and did is I just copied every book suggestion that was in the chat, and I'm going to compile a document where we're able to share that book list. And in the spirit of collective economics and using that to build Black wealth, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but there is an option to, if you suggest a book on Amazon, you can create a link on Amazon to suggest books or any other thing that they sell on Amazon, and you can actually get a percentage of that sale. So in the spirit of collective economics, if you purchase any of the books through the link that we will share, we will also be able to get a kickback from that as a percentage of the sale. A little tidbit. Anything else that we need to wrap up? I want to make sure that we also, if there's any final questions, if anybody has anything else on their heart that they want to share that they were not able to share, please do so now. If you want to put it in the chat box, or if you want to just unmute yourself to speak, I definitely want to offer this opportunity now.
All right. Only thing I wanted to say was it's the greatest book ever, in my opinion. Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? One of my favorite books. Talks about the great legacy of Reginald F. Lewis. And I believe he went to, somebody help me. What school did he go to? It wasn't Dunbar. Was it Dunbar? I don't think it was Dunbar.
It was Dunbar.
It was Dunbar. It was Dunbar.
Yeah, it was only two. It was one too many schools they could go to back then.
Yeah.
Right.
And shout out to Dunbar, because Dunbar, it's a lot of history in that school. So huge shout out to Dunbar.
I like to thank Crystal, who was definitely our shining star this year. She won the Shining Star through the agency. as GBLA, and well deserved from, I agree, from the minute she walked into the organization. She has been dynamic, and moving up into other positions. She's definitely putting herself in place for more, and I'm excited to work with her and develop her into the leader that she is. She's dynamic. I would also like to thank all of the panelists. This was very, very fruitful today. I didn't plan on 2 hours here today. I had some stuff to do, but every time I'm in the company of my people, and the YPs and the guild, doing service, as I said, you're only doing service in the middle of chaos and confusion. And this here has been just some amazing, amazing information for our people. Generational wealth, Black wealth, is something that we must continue to have conversations about daily. You know, we sit around the table and talk about everything else, but what's important is what we're leaving to our children. Had that conversation about life insurance policies. You know, a lot of white folk left their inheritances, and many individuals were able to buy homes and expand upon their wealth and begin wealth due to life insurance policies of their families. You know, and often we see Black families on GoFundMe because there is no policy. And, you know, I'm not saying how much you should get, but, you know, 50,000 is not a whole lot, you know, to leave for your family. You have to get into, you know, greater amounts to where they will have the opportunity to build their wealth and take care of themselves. You know, 20,000 to pay for a funeral is not the purpose of a life insurance policy. We need to use those policies to start some type of wealth for our families. So thank you, all of the panelists. I will be reaching out to you again because I feel like we already have our summit set for different opportunities with the league. I'm astounded by what you all put together every time. So you will be hearing from me. I am very, very grateful for the knowledge and the service that you give to our communities often. So thank you. Very nice meeting you all. Good to see you again, Ernest, lifetime friend. Miss Wood, wow, I videotaped you all. French Randall, you're the man. You are definitely the man. And Kendrick, wow, you get ready to get a text from me. Powerful, powerful, very powerful. It's the first time I ever heard you in this light ever. You and I have different conversation, but I like this one. I love this one. You've definitely enhanced me so much today. You all have did a lot for the Urban League today. So I want to thank you, our Dr. McFadden. Thank you for your background, but no, thank you for your moderation. Miss Stacy, who's behind the scenes, you can't see her face, who also supported this effort and put this collective National Day of Empowerment together. Baltimore is shining. I want you all to know you all were panelists for us today, but you will be national because Baltimore is really kicking up through the Urban League throughout the United States. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being a part of this.
Awesome.
I'd just like to say, my name is Kim Glover Spencer, and I'm president of the Greater Baltimore Urban League GBUL. This has been a tremendous educational process to just sit here and listen to this. And as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking of how we need to bring this information to our youth so that when they become adults, they're already familiar with options and they can pretty much, you know, plan where they need to go. Sometimes if we wait till we get 20, we are already behind the game. And we know that our educational system does not teach our children about financial literacy and their choices. So I would really like to see how this kind of seep down to a lower level where we are reaching our youth. I know in my days of teaching, I taught the stock market game to fifth graders and they loved it. And it opened their eyes to something that maybe when they get to be adults, they won't, when they say stock market, go, oh no. So I just like to see if we can just whittle this down to the younger people. And again, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this.
And I'll just speak on behalf of the Greater Baltimore Leadership Association, which is the young professionals of the Greater Baltimore Urban League. In the absence of our president, she was on and had to go. Just thank you all for participating, for supporting. And, you know, I just love the collaborative effort of our organization because the Greater Baltimore Urban League is great for a reason. So, and again, don't forget to give to the Greater Baltimore Urban League on Giving Tuesday.
Thank you all so much.
Very nice. Thank you, everyone. And again, I'll send out, this was recorded. I saw somebody ask, has this been recorded? This conversation absolutely was recorded, and we will post it. Look out for it on our Facebook. Make sure you're following us on Facebook at the Greater Baltimore Leadership Association. And we'll definitely get the information out there. Book list. I'm sorry, somebody was asking a question.
Join. I said join. I said that in the opening, but we need members. We're a small team and we do a lot of community work. And like Kendrick said, we are not about silos over here. We partner with any and everybody, as long as you're right. You know, we don't connect with everything. We need great energy. But we are very much excited to partner with definitely everyone on here and all community, small grassroots. We like to bring people to the table and like to support your efforts. So please reach out to us so that we can collaborate and also join our organizations, our auxiliary of young professionals under 41, and then to the best organization, the Guild, because I just hit that mark. So the Guild members, we are a special group, special spicy group. Come on and join us.
Someone asked, how do we give to Giving Tuesday?
So a campaign will absolutely go out, and on CEO Majors, it'll be like an email campaign will be going out, and we'll be posting it on our social media to let you know how to give. But if you want to give now as well as Giving Tuesday, you can always go to gbul.org and donate. Y'all see, I like talking about money.
Go ahead, VP of Finance. Nice. All right. So are we safe to?
If I could do a wrap up. So I have one book that I would love to share. To me, was one of my favorite books. It's called The Strength Finder 2.0. The Strength Finder is really about it helps you find your life's works. It tells you your strengths as you read through. It gives an example that the world is like the Rudy situation, the movie. He trained so hard to get his 2 minutes of fame on the football field, but he naturally wasn't physically ready to play football. So the book is basically telling you, don't listen to the world and try to work on all your weaknesses. Focus on your God-given talents. Focus on your strength that's already given to you. So the Strength Finder 2.0 actually changed my life 2 years ago when I read that and said, oh, I'm going to stay in my therapeutic region. If it's not professional speaking or professional DJing, I'm going to put the team around me and I just throw it over the fence. Yeah, my company can still do what you need, but Kendrick Tilghman is not breaking out his stride out of his therapeutic space of speaking professionally or DJing professionally. And so I wanted to share that I got that motion from the book Strength Finder 2.0. And my last portion is just, yes, I want to partner with you because each of us need all of us. And teamwork makes the dream work. And so we got to make sure that we are putting our strengths in the pool so we can all build those relationships, build those capacities, and support each other through our strengths. And so I thank my new cousin, Miss Portia. I didn't know Wood stood for Biddy Wood. Like, that's my uncle. That's family. Like family. So y'all just made a whole family connection on here, and now she has all of my resources that I've been really building for the last 20 years because she's family, and I didn't even know it. And so this is a powerful conversation, a powerful network, and I just thank you for the invite. And with that, I'll digress.
Hey, man, brother, I thought you was going to mention the Bible, man, the way you've been preaching all day, man. You've been doing your thing. I love it.
I just speak from the heart. It's all passion.
I love it. All right. Thank you, everyone. We are going to wrap it up and close out. Kendrick, that was an awesome way to bring us home. It's been a pleasure to have this. This was such a great conversation. I've gotten so much from it. I'm inspired. You all have definitely inspired me. So yeah, we will stay connected. Make sure you follow us and keep up to date with all that we are doing. Thank you. Bye.